Hey folks, welcome back to Ndaba Africa. This is Chris coming to you live from central Pennsylvania here for the launch of the Antares mission this evening, which was scrubbed last night. Welcome. Hey, I see Lynn is there. Welcome, Lynn. Good to see you. Welcome to the channel. Anybody else out there? Folks, had quite a busy day here with streams on Chris Wide Africa. I'm going to put in the background now for you the live feed coming from NASA, and we'll keep you updated. We're now about a little less than 30 minutes away from this launch taking place, the Antares rocket mission. Let me get this up for you in just a second. Here you go. In the background there, that is the live feed. Somehow it got off the main. There we go. All right, from the NASA Johnson Space Center there in Houston, which you see in the background. I'm Chris, live in central Pennsylvania, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome into the channel. Get started for this live stream to bring you the launch of the Antares mission. And so I'm going to talk a little bit about that mission here as we get started, folks. Hey, Lynn, welcome to you. Okay. Hello. It looks like I might be flying there's a few folks here tuning in now. Welcome, folks. Add hello. I meant to say just hello to everybody. There you go. So many streams, so much going on, folks. My apologies for that, jumping around there. Okay, let me just get back to where I wanted to. Okay, that's not what I was looking for. Don't worry, you guys can't see it. Just playing around here with a few different things to get them loaded up. Right. Okay, so yeah, this particular mission, ladies and gentlemen, this is a cargo spacecraft for the launch. Is named after the fallen NASA astronaut Kalpana Chawla, who was part of the Columbia shuttle disaster back in 2003. The commercial cargo spacecraft bound for the International Space Station. Sorry, just a second there. It's going to fly under the name of fallen NASA astronaut who was the first Indian-born woman to enter space. That's right. She was part of that Columbia mission back in 2003, which unfortunately broke up on re-entry coming in over the Southwest and Texas of the United States. Northrop Grumman announced this mission. The Cygnus capsule will be named the SS Kalpana Chawla in memory of the mission specialist who lost her life with her 6 crewmates on Space Shuttle Columbia back in 2003. Now, this thing is scheduled to launch tonight at about 21:17, which it makes it 17, 27, 29 minutes, just under 30 minutes from now, ladies and gentlemen. And that is the plan. There it is on the pad. You can see. Let me slide over a little bit there. Oops, that's not what I want. Slide myself over a little bit so that you guys get, there you go. Let me just take that off real quick, and we'll bring the voice on here.
Who twice flew into space, first on the STS-87 mission aboard the Space Shuttle Columbia in 1997, and then on the ill-fated STS-107 mission aboard Columbia in 2003, in which she and her 6 crewmates lost their lives during entry. Kalpana Chawla, the first NASA astronaut of Indian and South Asian descent, being honored on this mission of Cygnus to the International Space Station.
There you go, folks, as we honor the first Indian ever in space who won her first mission in 1997, and then she traveled once again in 2003 in that fatal Columbia re-entry coming back to Earth. That, of course, is the famous situation in which those seals cracked and then damaged, a tile broke loose and damaged on the shuttle Columbia, and its re-entry, it broke apart tragically. Quite a sad situation there, folks. But this is in honor of her. This is a Northrop Grumman mission, by the way, for those who are curious about that. That's right. So this is scheduled to launch. It's the NG-14 mission atop a Northrop Grumman Antares rocket. This is being launched from the Wallops Flight Facility in Virginia, ladies and gentlemen. And if I were not streaming, I would be outside looking in this general direction in about 27 minutes because it is visible from my home over Virginia, this launch taking place. But I will be watching it here with you guys live from the NASA feed that's taking place. Right now, Christina Haloni from Antares Systems Engineering Program Manager is talking on the channel, but let me just get up to date on what is happening here, folks. So as I mentioned, this is flight is in honor of Kalpana Chawla, who was a 2-time astronaut, having flown in the shuttle program to space and unfortunately lost her life in that tragic Columbia mission. So tonight's launch is scheduled to take off. It looks like it's a go for now. However, it was scrubbed 2 minutes before launch last time, so we'll hold our fingers until the spacecraft gets off the launch pad in the Wallops facility down in Virginia on Wallops Island. So this is a very exciting time if the rocket does go up tonight. It'll arrive at the space station on the 4th. On this Sunday, it'll arrive. The expedition commander, Chris Cassie of NASA, will grapple with the Cygnus and flight engineer Ivan Wagner of Roscosmos. That's, of course, the Russians will act as a backup. After Cygnus is captured, the mission control in Houston is going to send ground commands to the station's robotic arm to rotate and install it on the bottom of the station's Unity module. The mission is going to deliver a new toilet. Apparently, it's a $23 million toilet, ladies and gentlemen. A crop of radishes, cancer research, and virtual reality technology, along with 8,000 pounds or 3,600 kilos of crew supplies and hardware. Wow, folks, 3,600 pounds or 3,600 kilos, 8,000 pounds of cargo for the International Space Station. So quite a bit involved with this, ladies and gentlemen. Let me reduce my picture just a little bit here so you can see more of the Antares rocket on the launch pad there. Antares produced and built by Northrop Grumman. As you know, SpaceX is not the only private business in the business of space launches. We also have Northrop Grumman, and there are others, including SpaceX, Northrop Grumman, and Boeing is also involved. But this is a Northrop Grumman launch. It's the Antares rocket, which is Northrop's program. And this is taking a $23 million toilet into space, ladies and gentlemen. So I'm sure the International Space Station astronauts and cosmonauts will be quite glad to see the $23 million toilet arrive in space. But as I mentioned, it also includes a crop of radishes. In addition to that, some cancer research and virtual reality technology, along with the other crew supplies and some hardware. Now, it will remain in the Cygnus will remain in space at the space station until the middle of December. The capsule will then conduct the next installment of an ongoing experiment studying fire in space and dispose of several tons of trash during a fiery reentry into the Earth's atmosphere 2 weeks later. That should be fascinating itself, disposing several tons of trash in a fiery reentry into the Earth's atmosphere. Wow, folks. Yikes. It's very interesting stuff. This, as I mentioned, this is the launch of the Northrop Grumman Antares rocket. There you go, folks. The Cygnus. You can see the capsule up there. Fascinating stuff. Fascinating stuff. Now, we're also supposed to have seen a SpaceX Falcon 9 rocket launch from the Kennedy Space Center. That was also scrubbed on Thursday. 18 seconds before the launch last night. So quite an interesting night in space flight last night with the Falcon 9 rocket having been scrubbed 18 seconds and this Antares mission being scrubbed 2 minutes before launch. Quite the interesting evening and perhaps disappointing for folks. But the SpaceX is preparing another Falcon 9 rocket for launch at 9:43 tonight. So that will be after this launch. So there's a very narrow window. We may very well see 2 rocket launches tonight from the U.S., folks. One from Virginia at 21:17, which is the Antares mission. Let me get this over there, folks, and get you guys back on track so you can see that. I'll take this off. I'll come back on in just a moment. Let's hear a little bit about the crew here.
Station in mid-December for a 2-week free flight in which additional scientific experiments will be conducted.
Copy not required.
On board the International Space Station, Cassidy Wagner and Russian cosmonaut Anatoly Ivanishin are asleep at this hour, less than 3 weeks away from the end of their 6.5-month mission on the orbital outpost. They are scheduled to return to Earth on the evening of October 21st U.S. time, which will be the morning of October 22nd on the steppe of Kazakhstan, for a parachute-assisted landing in their Soyuz MS-16 spacecraft. That will come 8 days after the arrival of the next trio of residents to the International Space Station, NASA astronaut Kate Rubins, Sergei Ryzhikov, and Sergei Kud-Sverchkov of Roscosmos, who are in final training right now at the Baikonur Cosmodrome in Kazakhstan for their launch on October 14th in the Soyuz MS-17 spacecraft. Inside 21 minutes until launch, everything continues to proceed on track and on time for a liftoff at 8:16 and 14 seconds p.m. Eastern Time.
Puzzling, he says 8:16 because it's at 9:16. So I'm not really sure why I said that. I hope that was mistaken. And they're not feeding us footage from last night when it scrubbed. But you can see 20 minutes away now from the launch, waiting for this takeoff. You've seen the International Space Station astronauts and cosmonauts who are up in space right there. In the chat here, we've got Lynn. We've got Bosch Zebra says good evening again. Yeah, Bosch Zebra, which seems like we've been hanging out all day, doesn't it? And then Eddie van der Westhuizen says, morning, Chris, from South Africa. Indeed, it is very early morning there in South Africa, folks, approaching 3 a.m. Bosch Zebra says, thanks for taking the time to bring the stream to us. It's appreciated. It's my pleasure. As you all know, I love astronomy, I love space, and I am a firm believer that we will find life on Enceladus and perhaps even on Titan, ladies and gentlemen, hopefully in our lifetimes. That would be fascinating. Bosch Zebra says, yeah, it's been quite a couple of scrubbed launches recently. Yes, there's also a SpaceX GPS launch coming up soon. That's correct. Yeah, quite a few things going on in space launches. You're seeing the NASA feed behind me there, folks. That's live from camera number 12. It's focused on the Wallops launch facility in Wallops Island, Virginia, just a few hours southeast of my current location in central Pennsylvania, as it gets ready for the launch in less than 20 minutes now, folks. So let's get back to the conversation. I was talking about all these different things. So as I mentioned, just hours before a Falcon 9 countdown, a United Launch Alliance Delta IV Heavy rocket was poised to launch off of Pad 37 Bravo at Cape Canaveral with a spy satellite for the National Reconnaissance Office. That launch was also aborted, and the countdown stopped 7 seconds before the mission's targeted liftoff on Wednesday. Wednesday, we had a spy satellite for the National Reconnaissance Office that didn't launch. Thursday, we had the SpaceX rocket that was scrubbed. And now, last night as well, we also had the Antares mission scrubbed. So if things work well, assuming this launch goes in 18 minutes and 40 seconds, ladies and gentlemen, from Virginia, the Falcon 9 launch from Florida at Cape Canaveral will be 27 minutes after this. Now, I don't know if I'm going to be able to carry both launches, but I'm going to try. We'll see what happens if both continue. Wouldn't that be amazing to see two launches in the same evening? That'll be something. That'd be well worth your money. And by the way, it costs absolutely nothing to watch this, so really worth your money. But folks, it looks like we have two launches on track for this evening. We'll see what happens. I'm not really sure what's happening to the NRO rocket and what's happening to that situation, but we shall see, folks. Anyway, there you have in the background, you see the system waiting for the launch well under 20 minutes now. And I'm not sure, there's a countdown clock down there at the bottom. It says 58 minutes. I really don't understand what that is because we're just now about 17 minutes away from launch for this mission from the Wallops Space Launch Facility in Wallops, Virginia, Wallops Island. So anyway, folks, we're coming up on it quickly here. The Antares rocket launch should be fascinating. And I hope that that folks have had a good day, a better day than Donald Trump, who tested positive for COVID-19 in the early hours of Friday, the same day as right now. He reported that over Twitter. Surprise, surprise. Donald Trump, of course, using Twitter all the time to share news. It was very encouraging to see that news come from the president himself and not be a consequence of a leak or other nonsense. But Donald Trump told the world, in the interest of full disclosure, to let them know that he and his wife Melania had tested positive for COVID-19. And then in somewhat surprising news, we saw earlier this evening, shortly after I ended my previous live stream, the Night Owls edition of Stray Voltage, we saw Marine One landing at the White House to transport President Trump from the White House to Walter Reed National Medical Center in Bethesda, Maryland. As the White House has said, out of abundance of caution, the president was taken to Walter Reed for treatment and care there. He had already developed some mild symptoms of the COVID-19, and the situation was that he had a slight cough, and then in addition to the cough, he also had some fever and elevated temperature. So out of abundance of caution, they took President Trump to there. I'm sure against his wishes, but I did listen to medical advice, which is good to hear. Always good to see the president paying attention to his physicians. So, folks, here we go. We are now approaching the launch at the Wallops Space Launch Facility there in Virginia, and it's coming up here shortly. As I mentioned, this mission includes cargo for the International Space Station, some cancer research, some virtual reality technology, as well as a $23 million toilet. Approaching 15 minutes, T-minus 16 and counting down, ladies and gentlemen. As we get close to the launch, I'll go silent on the commentary, and we will simply listen to the NASA feed. Ice says, oh, man, can't wait. Ice, I'm with you, man. Hey, Tony's here. Tony, offering prayers for President Trump. Tony, good to see you up there in Canada. Tony, I don't know if you caught it, but I had Laura Lynn Tyler Thompson on my channel for a short stream on Monday, I think it was. She wasn't able to show up at the time that we had scheduled, and she kindly showed up later. And we talked to Laura Lynn Tyler Thompson, the Canadian conservative Christian who was also a candidate for political office up there in British Columbia. 18,000 pounds of what? The fuel? are you talking about? The cargo is 8,000 pounds or 3,600 kilos. So that's what the actual cargo is, if that's what you're referring to, Tony. I'm not so sure if I was following what you're talking about. Yeah, did you see the news? All these leftist clowns claiming that Donald Trump is faking corona. It's just insane. Led by buffoon himself, the center stage of the clown car show, fraudulent documentary filmmaker Michael Moore peddling a conspiracy theory that Donald Trump is lying about having COVID-19 in order to gain sympathy. What a buffoon. Yeah, that's that guy, Michael Moore, ladies and gentlemen, an embarrassment to this country for decades now, a leftist scourge. Anyway, folks, back to the conversation here. So, yeah, we've got, by the way, Book van Blerk has a concert online tomorrow night for South Africans, 55 Rand if you want to watch it, if you're curious about that. Now, where did my news go? I had my news here just a moment ago. See if I can find it. There we go. Look for it. Right, folks. So, as I mentioned, Northrop Grumman has announced that this Cygnus capsule will be named the SS Kapani Chawla. That's in honor of the mission specialist from the 2003 Columbia flight who lost her life in this in the Columbia disaster, I should say. So let me get back to the live stream there, and I will try to bring something up here in the stream. Actually, I did this in honor of her. I'll see if I can bring it into the picture really quickly here. You saw it on the screen a few moments ago, but I did get a screen capture of this earlier just to share this with you guys during the launch tonight. It was pretty cool to see them bring it up earlier. But it is insane. Where do people get this crap? Oh, yeah, exactly. Laura Lynn, you're going to have to catch up. Yeah, Tony, you've fallen behind. I hope that's because you're busy and earning a living or doing something productive and not just because you've been sleeping or something like that. All right, so now there it is. All right, see how this comes up on the screen. There you go, ladies and gentlemen. That is the mission specialist from the 2003 Columbia mission, the first Asian in space flight. She was, She was mission specialist, but not her first trip into space. She'd actually been in space previously, but the Columbia mission, she lost her life on the reentry with their 6 crew members. So this is named after her, in honor of her, by Northrop Grumman. So that's pretty classy of them to do that, folks. We are now counting down under 15 minutes, T-minus. We must be down about, about 13 minutes away from launch, folks. When we get down to 10, I'm going to turn the volume on for NASA, and I will likely take myself off as we approach down to 5 minutes off the screen. I will offer commentary as appropriate, but we're going to listen to NASA on the countdown. Folks, fingers crossed. As we saw the last 2 nights, Wednesday and Thursday night, we saw a National Reconnaissance Office mission scrubbed for a spy satellite. We're down to about 12 minutes left here. The National Reconnaissance Office flight was scrubbed on Wednesday. Then we saw the Falcon 9 launch scrubbed last night, and this was scrubbed last night about 2 minutes from launch. So fingers crossed, 12 minutes to go, folks. We are now at T-minus 12 minutes and counting to the launch of the Northrop Grumman Cygnus 14 launch in honor of Indian astronaut Kapani Chawla right there, who's on the screen, ladies and gentlemen. Tony's working long days. Okay. It was a sad day, Tony. I remember that day. It was unbelievable watching that thing break up. I'm one of the few people that still watched all of the shuttle missions faithfully. Everyone that was broadcast, I watched because I have great reverence for space and for our efforts to conquer space and to explore space. Of course, the Columbia, and then I remember the Challenger disaster back in 1986. That was horrific as well. That was something else. I was actually enlisted in the Army, stationed in Germany at the time, and I'd come back from the range that day. It was afternoon, and I was taking care of cleaning my weapon when that happened. So I'm going to take Kapani off there because I just saw something from Bosch Zebra that came up. Well, that was really cool of you, Bosch Zebra. So Bosch Zebra has just done a super sticker. He's got the rhino sliding his cap back. It should come up on the screen anytime soon here, just waiting for it to come up. So let's see where that's at. Where is it at? It's not coming up for some reason. No, there it should come up. There we go, finally. Bosch Zebra has donated a super sticker, 70 Rand. Thank you so much for that, Bosch Zebra. Buy a donkey. It's very kind of you. Folks, we are now coming up on close to 10 minutes from the launch. And we see the 10 minutes on there. I'm going to turn the volume on, and we'll listen to NASA as we count down to the Northrop Grumman Cygnus 14 launch of the Antares mission to the International Space Station, carrying cargo and a $23 million commode, ladies and gentlemen. $23 million. Trumpelstiltskin says it should be our top priority. In fact, it should. The Apophis asteroid is coming at us, folks, in 2029. It's going to just miss Earth. At least that's the projected trajectory right now. But by 2069, it may just well strike the planet unless something is done. All these asteroids out there in space present a danger to us as they approach the Earth, but the Apophis. All right, we're under 10 minutes, folks. Here goes the NASA. You're going to listen to that now. 10 minutes, T-minus 10:46 and counting, ladies and gentlemen, to the launch of the Northrop Grumman Cygnus mission to the International Space Station. We've done manned space flight here with the first launch in about a decade. Manned space flight from the United States just a few months ago with the SpaceX, NASA.
No issues being worked in the Range Control Center at Wallops Island, Virginia, or at Dulles, Virginia, where the Cygnus spacecraft team for Northrop Grumman monitoring Cygnus' systems ready to take over at the time of spacecraft separation just over 9 minutes after launch.
So you caught that. There'll be separation 9 minutes after launch from the rocket boosters break away.
And
yes.
Ops 1, Step 391, enable ACS VDMs.
I am addicted to the Curiosity rover updates.
ACS VDMs internal power on.
All right, they switched internal power on the rocket.
VDMs enabled, voltage nominal, and commands cleared.
Copy that. Elect 1, check 391, check 392. And launch team be advised, Step 393 will not be required for today's operation.
Once Cygnus arrives at the International Space Station in the wee hours Monday morning and is grappled and then installed and bolted into place, a series of leak checks at the berthing interface between Cygnus and the Unity module will be conducted by NASA astronaut and station commander Chris Cassidy, making sure that we have a tight seal between the Cygnus and the station before he begins the process of opening the hatch to Cygnus and the start of the unloading of the most time-critical experiments and supplies that are being brought up on the Cygnus resupply vehicle.
Just address some of the things in the chat very quickly. Ice, you said YouTube just censored to your messages, guessing hate speech. Not necessarily, Ice. YouTube content creators can put keywords in there and make sure that they are blocked. And that can be done on chat. It can also be done on videos. So I'm not sure if you're talking about my channel or another channel, but I do have certain keywords that if someone uses in the message is blocked automatically. YouTube has its own dictionary of certain words that will block, and it will hold it for review. So if you post on my videos, it might be sitting under held for review or simply blocked. But it could be the content creator. That's why I mentioned that. Bosch Zebra says, good to hear that everything sounds nominal thus far. Under 7 minutes now, folks. When will the capsule rendezvous with the International Space Station? Well, he said Monday, but it'll be the late hours of Sunday or perhaps the early hours of Mondays when it's supposed to happen. And Ice says, oh, dear Lord, that I must have triggered one of your words. Don't sweat it, Ice. It's not the first time it's happened to your comments. I've seen it once or twice before. Tony says, reporting in all systems go. Indeed, they are, folks. We're down to nearly 5 minutes to go. And there was a Kalpana Sony says, hey, did someone mention my name? Oh, my God, the launch. Indeed. That's right, Kalpani. This mission is named in honor of Kalpani Chawla, who was an astronaut from India on a 1997 shuttle mission, and then again in 2003, tragically on the Columbia mission, in which she lost her life. The first Indian, the first subcontinent, the first Asian into space. Amazing stuff. And in honor of her, Northrop Grumman has named this particular transport mission in honor of her. It's the SS Kalpani Chawla. There you go, folks. That's what's going on. We're approaching 5 minutes now from launch of the Antares rocket from the Wallops Island launch facility located in Virginia on the eastern seaboard of the United States. Just 27 minutes after that, folks, and I have set my mobile. I have to remember to do the timer. Just 27 minutes after this launch, if things go well, from the Kennedy Space Center, Pad 37 Bravo, we'll be seeing SpaceX Falcon 9 rocket do another launch into space, 27 minutes apart. Folks, we're now 5.5 minutes away from launch of the Northrop Grumman Cygnus 14 mission to the International Space Station. This is a resupply mission with a $23 million toilet. That's right. No, this is not the U.S. Air Force, a gold-plated toilet for Air Force One. This is a $23 million toilet for the International Space Station, as well as some cancer research, some virtual reality technology. Folks, it's now so we're launched. We are T-minus 5 minutes, and here is NASA.
T-minus 5 minutes. Ops 1, transfer avionics to internal power.
LC Ops 1, avionics internal power on. Stand by for command completion. LC Ops 1, external power off.
Internal power is nominal.
Roger that, Elect 1, Ops 1, open STS umbiloop.
LC Ops 1, FTS umbiloop open and green.
LC Elect 2, FTLU and FTS receiver indications are nominal.
Copy, Elect 2. Ops 1, you go to send, all arm command.
LC Ops 1, all arm command sent.
SNAs, ODMs, all arm.
NASA TD, report range status.
LCTD, range is green.
T-minus 4 minutes and counting. Everything in order. No issues being worked at the Range Control Center at Wallops.
All systems nominal, folks. We're now less than 4 minutes away from launch. Isn't it reassuring to hear that countdown and those reporting in? It just reminds you of being a kid and watching the Apollo programs go up. That is one expensive water closet there, Bosch Zebra. $23 million. Trumpletilskin says it may be the going price for a space toilet. I think it is.
Team be advised, Phase 3 dynamic limits will be active at T-minus 3 minutes.
Quentin Noggle's back. Good to see you back. We are almost down to 3 minutes from launch, folks. Quentin Noggle, welcome this evening. Haven't seen you in a bit. ICE is ready to light that rocket, folks. We are approaching 3 minutes from launch. Remember last night at 2 minutes from launch, it was scrubbed.
T-minus 3 minutes and counting.
There you heard it, folks. NASA T-minus 3, TU-57.
Power sequence start. ODM bus voltages and currents nominal.
Copy all, Elect 1. GNC-1, verify ready for nav mode.
LC, GNC-1, orb nav ready for nav mode.
Roger that. Ops 2, step 414, switch to nav.
LC Ops 2, orb nav switch to nav.
Copy that, Ops 2, check 414.
LC, GNC-1, orb nav telemetry verified.
Roger that, GNC-1.
All right, folks, in 1 minute, I'm going to take my camera off, but I'll comment as necessary during the launch so you get a good view of the launch. All right, so we're close to that 1 minute at this point, and once we reach that, I'm going to turn my camera off but keep my microphone handy.
Coming up on the T-minus 2 minute mark, Antares systems in excellent shape, no issues.
And I said 1 minute because I want to make sure they launch.
Mark.
T-minus 2.
Mark.
All right, folks. This is where it was scrubbed yesterday. Looks like we're a go. Looks like we're a go, folks. Can you feel it? Can you feel it? I know I do.
"90 seconds until launch."
T-minus 1 minute, 30 seconds.
Sounds like somebody's beating on a stairwell there. Almost 1 minute, folks. I'm going to drop off the camera here in a moment. T-minus 1 minute at this mark.
T-minus 1 minute.
Well into the terminal count, T-minus 50 seconds and counting.
We're now under a minute from the Northrop Grumman Cygnus 14 launch of the Antares rocket to the International Space Station, ladies and gentlemen, delivering a $23 million commode to the space station, along with virtual reality technology, a crop of radishes, cancer research, and
T-minus 30 seconds.
8,000 pounds of cargo. 30 seconds, folks. Looks like we're a go. Here we go with the Antares launch from the Wallops Space Launch Facility in Wallops Island, Virginia, off the east coast of the United States. And here comes the countdown, ladies and gentlemen. God bless.
T-minus 15 seconds.
T-minus 10. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
Ignition. And this candle is lit, ladies and gentlemen.
And liftoff. The SS Kalpana Chawla takes flight, sights set on the International Space Station.
Look at her go. Looking good.
Pitch and roll programmer in.
Vehicle systems are nominal. Engines at 100%. Attitude nominal. Vehicle subsystems nominal. Engines are steady and nominal. 100%.
Whoa, that looks wicked. That looks wicked.
Altitude 20,000 feet.
1 minute into the flight, everything looking good on Antares.
Passing through max Q. Attitude nominal. Engines at 100.
Antares passing through the area of maximum dynamic pressure.
50,000 feet.
I cheated. I ran outside. Let's see if I could see it.
Attitude nominal. All vehicle subsystems are nominal.
Coming up on the 2-minute mark into the flight, everything looking good.
Just passing 100,000 feet. Attitude nominal. Vehicle subsystems nominal.
100,000 feet. Jeez. Can you imagine? Look at that.
Engines remain at 100%. Attitude nominal. Vehicle subsystems nominal.
Good reports from the Range Control Center at Wallops.
30 seconds to throttle down.
Throttle down is the precursor to main engine cutoff for the first stage. Coming up on the 3-minute mark into the flight.
Engines at 55% thrust.
Standing by for main engine cutoff on the first stage.
Main engine cutoff. Stage 1 separation. Attitude nominal.
Stage 1 separation confirmed from the Range Control Center. Antares flying straight and true.
Antares in coast phase until proper conditions for fairing separation and stage 2 ignition are achieved.
Fairing separation confirmed. Cygnus now exposed to the atmosphere as it continues its trek uphill to its preliminary orbit.
Stage 2 ignition.
This will be about a 2-minute 44-second burn of the second stage engine.
Attitude nominal.
All right, folks, I went outside and I saw it. I saw it in the sky. Unbelievable. What an amazing sight. And it went fast. I'm talking about fast. Wow, it was unbelievable. Almost out of sight in less than a
Altitude
minute.
nominal. Vehicle subsystems nominal. 140 kilometers.
Trumpletilski, yeah, I think they could have spent a little more money on the graphics
Coming up
for
on the
this.
5-minute mark into the flight.
The animation is pretty lame. I'll give you that. Boss Zebra gave another super sticker. Awesome with the KO knockout punch there. Folks, wow, that was something else. Okay.
All systems continue nominal. Altitude 150 kilometers.
I saw it, folks. I went outside, looked up in the sky, and saw the rocket as it went across the sky. Unbelievable. Because of the curvature of the Earth and the trees in the distance, it dropped out of my sight. But I saw that phase there where you saw the red, where it went from gold to red. I saw the rocket. Unbelievable. Unbelievable from the Wallops Space Launch Facility. Folks, something else. Yes, it is insane, Ice.
All systems nominal.
It was absolutely
The second
insane.
stage burnout is scheduled at about the 6-minute 51-second mark into the flight.
Folks, I'm telling you, I agree with you. I think the
Altitude 170 kilometers, roughly 1 minute to stage 2 burnout.
I think clearly the money was spent on the spacecraft and not on the animation. I mean, Bugs Bunny cartoons have better animation than this thing does. I'm just saying. Ice has goosebumps, man. I am telling you, that was so awesome. And you can see it streaking away from us there on the map as it's updated in the bottom there. Wow. Wow, that was something else. Of course, the curvature of the Earth, so it flew out of my eyesight within about
Altitude,
a minute.
184 kilometers. All systems nominal. Roughly 30 seconds to stage 2 burnout.
All right, so nearly stage 2 burnout on the rocket. So I'm keeping track. It's 6 minutes in, roughly a little over 6 minutes, to see if we get the SpaceX launch, which was supposed to be 27 minutes after this launch.
6 minutes, 40 seconds into the flight, standing by for stage 2 burnout.
Yeah, Boss Zebra, I like the
Stage
telemetry
2
data
tail-off.
too. Every time I talk, that dude wants to
Stage 2
talk.
burnout.
There he is, talking when I'm talking. Stage 2 burnout we've achieved.
And Cygnus has reached the preliminary orbital insertion.
Antares will coast for roughly 100 seconds prior to payload separation.
Folks, this thing is traveling at 17,000
And as you
miles
heard,
per hour.
the next major event will be Cygnus's separation from the second stage.
Attitude nominal.
Cygnus has begun its journey to reach the International Space Station early Monday morning.
So there you have the update
All vehicle subsystems nominal.
that it's early Monday morning, not Sunday night when they're going to launch, or when they reach the space station, I should say. Kalpani Sony, this is it is awesome. Indeed, it is awesome. Yeah, that speed is crazy,
Altitude
folks.
191 kilometers. Roughly 1 minute to payload separation.
All right, you got it. About a minute separation, folks.
Liftoff occurred right on the dime at 8:16 and 14 seconds p.m. Central Time, 9:16:14 p.m. Eastern Time. The International Space Station and its 3 crew members who are asleep at this hour approaching the southwest coast of Australia.
Altitude remains 192 kilometers. Roughly 30 seconds to payload separation. All systems nominal.
Thought I'd move my camera so you could
At the
get a
time
better view.
of Cygnus's separation from the second stage, the operations will move to Dulles, Virginia, and the Cygnus flight control room under the direction of Mission Director Zach Dwyer.
So I thought I'd move my camera so you could get better view of the MS-DOS quality graphics from Northrop Grumman there.
Cygnus separation.
Spacecraft separation confirmed. The SS Kalpana Chawla well on its way to the International Space Station.
CCAM initiated. Attitude nominal. LC, ace out.
All right, Ace, great job calling it out, and great job to the Northrop Grumman and NASA Wallops and everybody else Mars on getting this mission off in difficult times. Okay, launch team, we're going to go ahead and proceed now with our post-launch checklist. And prop lead, I assume 425 is already started.
Those are some super lame graphics there,
and
folks.
Prop lead LC, countdown 1.
Yeah, we've already began our warm helium and cold helium purging.
Okay, copy that. We'll check 425 complete. GNC1 LC, step 426. Let me know when you've provided the Antares state vector to Cygnus.
LC GNC1, state vector submission and work.
Okay, copy and work.
LC?
Go ahead, LD.
LC, this is LD. I'd just like to thank the launch team for an outstanding effort. Way to go, team. Thank you, Mars, NASA, and the Antares launch team. Oh, and Cygnus, too. So thanks, everybody. Great job. Carry on, LC.
Thank you, LD.
LC is launch control, folks, in case you're curious what LC is.
This is Mission Control Houston. Cygnus now safely in orbit en route to the International Space Station. A perfect launch from the Wallops Flight Facility in Virginia. On the line with us right now is the International Space Station's Deputy Program Manager, Kenny Todd. Kenny, good evening. Thanks for joining us tonight.
Hey, Rob. It's great to be with you. Thanks.
Well, Cygnus now safely en route to the International Space Station after that launch scrub last night. Carrying some 4 tons of supplies and experiments, including a couple of nitrogen tanks. Give us sort of the big picture on what's on board Cygnus, why these nitrogen tanks are important, and some of the other highlights for what this supply run will mean for the international complex.
You bet, Rob. First of all, let me offer my congratulations to the entire Northrop Grumman team. It was a spectacular launch. I don't think you can ever get tired of watching these night launches. And as you said yesterday, creating the artificial dawn for a few minutes there, it's just gorgeous. And the entire launch team there at the Wallops Flight Facility, again, they just do a great job at launching these vehicles. But yeah, we're very excited about having Cygnus off the pad on the way coming to the International Space Station with about 8,000 pounds of cargo, of which over a third of it is really committed to the science and utilization of the space station, and really taking advantage of this low Earth orbit asset where we can do some things in microgravity that quite frankly we can't do anywhere else on the planet. So we're always excited to have new people coming to station and really trying to see what kind of things that they can learn in this environment. So you mentioned earlier about the nitrogen tanks. We were a little anxious to get this flight off the ground because of the fact that it had some additional nitrogen on board. As most people who follow station on a regular basis might have heard, we've been dealing with a pesky little atmosphere leak.
So, folks, just for the moment, I'm going to put that on mute. What I'm trying to do is get the SpaceX Falcon 9 launch up for you. That's not apparently being covered by this NASA feed. So it's nothing happening at the moment, but that launch is now just about 15 minutes away, 14 minutes away from that launch. So I'm trying to get to that for you as well. So maybe we can get the feed on that. I'm going to go to another NASA site and see if I can't get it because the SpaceX site is not loading. It loaded up a stock video and it's supposed to be broadcasting live. So I'm hoping to get NASA feed on that. So let me just look for that. I'm going to look for the NASA feed on this SpaceX launch that's supposed to be taking place in about 14 minutes, folks. Won't that be cool to see 2 launches in a row? One thing's for certain, I will not be able to watch that one. I'm not going to be able to see it from here. It's too far south at Cape Canaveral. Okay, so we've got that one, and I'm just trying to find a link for the Falcon 9 one here. Okay, now my browser is acting really annoyingly slow. So it's NASA. I want the Falcon 9. There we go, Falcon 9. Okay, Falcon launch. Okay, so yeah, folks, you can see mission control there, or launch control, I should say, taking place. All right, where is the other one at? So, Of course, back a few months back is when we did the launch for the manned space flight with the Falcon 9 rocket from SpaceX on the Crew Dragon capsule, taking 2 U.S. astronauts back into space for the first time in manned space launch from the United States in quite some time here. All right, so here we go. I'm looking for this, and it's not coming up. Why is it not coming up? Well, let's see if it comes up now, folks. How are we doing over here? Well, you're seeing check SpaceX's channel. I checked it, but it's not loading. So let me, yeah, it's just giving me, it keeps coming up with this stupid thing. So it's not loading channel. What I need to do, I think, is stop the NASA feed, and maybe I can go from there. But when I load the SpaceX channel right now, there's nothing on there. It's just blank. It was showing a stock video earlier, so I'll give it a second to load again.
On your screen.
There it is. Finally.
What's really exciting.
All right, folks, I'll be able to switch over now to the SpaceX site. Thank you for that. I was already trying for the last 10 minutes to get it up, so they finally have got a feed going there now. Let me drag it over to this window, and I'll close the NASA feed, folks. So we are now done with the NASA launch, and this is still a NASA mission here, but this is SpaceX. We're going to switch over to SpaceX feed, right? Okay, so there you go. That's the SpaceX feed, ladies and gentlemen. And now 11 minutes away from the launch of a SpaceX Falcon 9 rocket. This is so awesome, is it not? Check it out. NASA spaceflight. Yeah, but I couldn't get that site to load either. So we're going to go with the SpaceX site. That'll be cool. No worries. Eddie says, well done, America. Just wondering if the toilet is gravity fed. Well, that's a good question. I wonder if it's gravity fed too, folks. But when we get to 10 minutes, I'm going to drop back and cut my camera off at least for a couple of minutes as we let the SpaceX feed show us this mission. Remember, this one scrubbed 15 seconds before launch last night. And the night prior to that, the mission to take the National Reconnaissance Office's spy satellite, that's what the public is reporting, open source, to take the NRO satellite into space was scrubbed 7 seconds before launch. This mission was scrubbed 15 seconds before launch. The mission we just launched from Northrop Grumman with the Antares rocket was scrubbed 2 minutes before launch last night, and it went off. So here you go, folks. Now we're looking at this. Look at that space, or that's the that's the recovery vehicle for the rocket. Okay, cool beans. So we should have this coming up shortly, folks. 10 minutes now. Let's go ahead and turn on the volume for that.
Check in to see if it is safe to make a catch attempt. And this is because weather can impact the sea states for mystery and mischief, but it can also affect the fairing's altitude, position, and speed, which could change how the fairing halves fall back to Earth. Now that large trusted structure next to Falcon 9, and on your screen it's to the left of Falcon 9 there, that is what we call the Transporter Erector, or TE. The TE is used to roll out Falcon 9 to the launch pad, and it raises it to the vertical launch position, and also routes power, fluids, and communication to both the rocket and the satellite. Now let's get a status update on the vehicle.
The Transporter Erector.
Good evening from SpaceX headquarters in Hawthorne, California. I'm John Innsbrucker, Falcon 9 Principal Integration Engineer. Now, the launch vehicle and satellite vehicle teams are ready for launch as we approach the T-minus 9-minute mark to liftoff. Now, this is our third GPS-3 launch, and all three have been from Space Launch Complex 40. Now, the spacecraft team performed their functional checkouts of the GPS satellite earlier today, and the Falcon 9 team began their final checks at T-minus 2 hours. Most recently, we completed the poll to proceed with propellant load and launch. This was at T-minus 38 minutes, and all parties were go. So the team at Cape Canaveral began loading propellant at T-minus 35 minutes. We used the same propellants on both the first and second stages. The second stage is primarily a short version of a first stage. That's one of the many reliability features in the Falcon design. Our fuel is a refined form of kerosene known as RP1. Our oxidizer is super chilled liquid oxygen called LOX. We chill it well below the boiling point so we can load more onto the booster, as well as avoid the need to continue topping it off to make up for losses due to propellant boil-off. Now currently the second stage that you can see on the screen just above that black interstage cylinder, that second stage is fully loaded with the RP1 kerosene fuel. The first stage is going to continue loading kerosene fuel until T-minus 6 minutes. Liquid oxygen is loading onto both the first and second stages right now. We're also loading helium into storage vessels on the first and second stages. We take this cold helium and run it through heat exchangers on the Merlin engines. That heats the helium up, and that hot helium is used to fill the empty volume in the tanks created when the engine pumps are pulling propellant out of the stage. By heating the helium, it expands the volume that it occupies, and that increases its efficiency. Now at 7 minutes, we're going to open the pre-valves between the first stage engines and the propellant tanks. We'll begin the engine chill-in sequence. This is where we cool the turbopumps to avoid thermal shocks when we start the pumps at T-minus 2 seconds to light the Merlin engines.
Guy talks too much.
And we're inside
Engine
7
chill
minutes.
has begun.
And we've heard the call that engine chill has begun right on time. On the GPS spacecraft, the team has transitioned the GPS spacecraft to internal battery power. That finished at about T-minus 13.5 minutes. That is their last major activity that's required before launch. On the range, the eastern range is ready to support. They are green and go. And the good news on the weather, while we've been dodging thick clouds that may have forced a launch scrub, for the moment, the weather officer believes that the cloud layers are thin enough and may just get past us that we aren't going to have an issue. We'll continue to listen, but 6 minutes and 19 seconds to go, we should be able to get there. Now, if we do have to call a hold on today's launch, we have a backup opportunity tomorrow. Liftoff would be a few minutes earlier at 9:39 p.m. Eastern Time. But right now, all systems continue to be go for a liftoff just past 43 minutes after the hour.
As we mentioned earlier, today's mission is for the U.S. Space Force launching the GPS-3 Space Vehicle 4 payload. Now we'll hear from the Air Force's Lieutenant Colonel Margaret Sullivan and Lockheed Martin's Tanya Ladwig for more information on tonight's payload.
We use GPS every day.
Today, everyone has GPS technology in their pocket.
It's 25 years of space-based position, navigation, and timing, supporting the entire world.
GPS touches the lives of everyday people all the time. It's changed the way we work, it's changed the way we play with over 4 billion users worldwide. We're already preparing for the next generation of GPS satellites with our GPS-3 follow-on contract, and we're inserting greater technology for greater capability.
The brand new United States Space Force owns this premier asset and provides this position, navigation, and timing service to everyone.
Well, I have to say that that's a lot better than the graphics we got on the Antares launch. Clearly, a little bit more money was put into that video by the Space Force than Northrop Grumman spent on the animation for the Antares launch and the rocket separation, ladies and gentlemen. Indeed, you just heard right there, this is a Space Force mission. How cool is that? Donald Trump lying up at the Walter Reed National Medical Center in Bethesda, Maryland, recuperating from an infection of the Beijing bio-revenge, also known as the Wuhan coronavirus COVID-19. While he sits there, his vision for the future is right here. Space Force in action, ladies and gentlemen, with the GPS version 3. GPS 3, the global positioning system, updating our navigation satellite system up in space, which benefits all of mankind. They conservatively said 4 billion people use the system, but the entire planet benefits from the existence of GPS, which has untold benefits for shipping, for transport. Folks, we're now under 3 minutes from launch, T-minus 2:55 and counting, of the SpaceX Falcon 9 rocket launch, taking the Space Force GPS-3 cargo into space. How cool is that? All right, ladies and gentlemen, just a little bit coming here. Yeah, Ice says just a little upgrade on the graphics. We are coming up on 2 minutes. When we get to 2 minutes, I'll take my camera back off. We'll switch over. We'll listen to SpaceX for their launch, ladies and gentlemen. This is really cool. 2 space launches in the same night. We're down to just 2 minutes and 25 seconds now, ladies and gentlemen. Remember last night, this mission was scrubbed at just 15 seconds before launch. So until that rocket and that candle is lit and leaves the launch pad, we are not going to bank on this mission going off. Apparently, the clouds have cleared enough that they can make the launch. At least that was the last information we had. Folks, we're now at T minus. Here it comes. Here it comes. Here it comes. Ladies and gentlemen, T minus 2 minutes to launch.
We're inside 2 minutes, closing out liquid oxygen on the second stage. We're now going to begin draining the liquid oxygen down the strongback, away from the second stage, back down through the lines, making sure that everything is clear out of that strongback for liftoff. And that's what's going to be creating the white clouds that you can see around the rocket right now coming off of the strongback as we vent the gaseous oxygen that's very cold, and it meets the warm, humid Florida air, and you get the big white clouds of condensation. That's normal for us. Next major activity again at T minus 1 minute will be in startup. First and second stages will also begin to pressurize for launch.
Ice, the rocket recovery might be a problem. Seas are rough out there, so it might be a challenge to get the rocket back. That's what they were talking about a few minutes ago.
Falcon 9 is in startup.
There's a call out. We've gone into startup. Next up, SpaceX launch director gives the final go for launch.
This is the mission director. Go for launch.
We're coming up at T minus 30 seconds. Everything looking good. All systems are go for launch of Falcon 9 with the GPS-3 space vehicle number 4.
All right, folks, we're almost there. This is where it was scrubbed last night at T minus 15 seconds.
Stage 1, flight press.
15 seconds.
All right, we're under it. Fingers crossed, ladies and gentlemen. The Falcon 9 rocket launch.
10, 9, 8,
7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
And we have an abort.
Oh, ladies and gentlemen, we have an abort at T minus 2 seconds. You big T's.
As you can see right now, it's T minus 2 seconds. We did not get to T minus 0. We heard the call out of an abort. They're currently safing the vehicle. We're going to be listening to hear if we can get some more information.
2 seconds. Are you serious? Blixem. That's right, Bosch Deborah. Blixem. Masakint. Oh, my goodness. Ladies and gentlemen, the Falcon 9 rocket launch is aborted at T minus 2 seconds. Let's wait for an update and see what the issue was and if they will go forward with this launch or is it scrubbed altogether. T minus 2 seconds. Wow. Folks, thanks for tuning in. That was anticlimactic, but remember at 15 seconds I said that's where it was scrubbed last night. Unbelievable.
John Innsbrucker back again. You can see the clock is reset to T minus 15. That doesn't mean that we are going to attempt another launch. We are going to scrub for tonight because we'll be out of the window.
No!
However, that's where the clock resets to as they begin safing the vehicle. Right now the team is busy making sure that the automated sequences to safe the launch vehicle are underway. We did not get down to T0. We did not try to launch. We had the abort, as you saw on the screen, at about T minus 2 seconds, which is just the start as we get into the engine ignition sequence.
Folks, that's what happens when you use Microsoft for your operating system.
Lighting rocket engines and then shutting them down is fairly normal. We do this in Texas when we test the stages. We also do this when we static fire the Falcon 9 on the launch pad, as we did with this rocket several days ago. So going through the sequence to safe the vehicle is fairly standard for the launch team. We're hoping that we may get an announcement from the launch director a little bit later over the countdown net.
Well, that's a drag, ladies and gentlemen. Well, there you go. It's scrubbed for the night. So the window is gone. So we won't be getting the GPS-3 coming up for a bit longer, folks. Wow, 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 wow. D-Stu says, got to follow protocols rather abort than have a disaster. Absolutely true, ladies and gentlemen. That's the most important piece of this. But the bottom line is we did see the launch of the Antares mission, which is what you all tuned in for. This was just a bonus. It was going to be a freebie. I'm not sure why it scrubbed at T-2. But as he mentioned, that's the moment that they light the candle, they light the engines, and they scrubbed it before the lighting of the engines took place. So not really sure what happened there with the SpaceX Falcon 9 rocket. We know it's a reliable rocket. We've seen it take place. I was really interested in seeing the rocket recovery at nighttime. That was going to be so exciting to see it land at night, and so that's disappointing. All right, 2 is 1, 2 is 1, 1 is none. Yeah, this would have been a bonus, says Ice. Folks, well, there you have it. That's the, well, let's get a little feedback from this chap right here. Let's see what he's got to say.
Today's abort. Stand by for discussion on recycle.
We've just heard the SpaceX launch director on the countdown net announce what we talked about earlier. We have a scrub for the evening. If you are with us, we got down to about T-2 seconds approximately. We haven't seen the actual shutdown time. We were just starting the engine ignition sequence when we had a hold. We then began safing. We did not get into lighting all 9 of the Merlin rocket engines. Right now we're waiting to hear if there's anybody else coming up on the countdown net, but it doesn't appear so. So we did scrub, or we did hold the countdown at about T-2 seconds. Because our window only lasted 15 minutes tonight and we don't know how to quickly solve the issue and try to recycle the launch, plus we had already loaded propellant and we can't hold once we do that, we are scrubbed for the night, as you heard just a moment ago.
All right, folks. Well, I'll tell you what. That's going to be it then. Let's call it. We've gone an hour here. We almost got a super bonus, but it was still fun. You can see that long-distance shot right there of the Falcon 9 rocket from across the water there at the Cape Canaveral Kennedy Space Center. Disappointing, but better than a rocket blowing up in mid-flight. So we did at least get to see the Antares. And I got a bonus here, folks, here on the East Coast of the United States, as that rocket, the Antares rocket, launched from the Wallops Island launch facility in Virginia. And I slipped outside while you all were watching it, and I actually saw the rocket in the sky as it streaked across the sky on its way to space. It was amazing, folks. Thanks for tuning in. I really appreciate the support. Busy day with lots of streams. I'm going to call it a night now, folks. Thanks a lot so much for your support. Appreciate it. And I'll see you tomorrow here on Chris Wyatt Africa. And that was pretty cool, wasn't it? Not the aborted launch, although we got to 2 seconds. 2 seconds. So, folks, that's 4 aborted rocket launches this week. We had the National Reconnaissance Office satellite rocket launch on Wednesday, scrubbed. On Thursday, we had this Falcon 9 mission with the GPS for Space Force, scrubbed 15 seconds before launch. And also on Thursday, we had the Antares mission, scrubbed 2 minutes before launch. Tonight, we did get the Antares Northrop Grumman mission off. And Bosch Deborah has donated another 21 through Super Chat next time. Thank you so much. Oops, oh, this guy's back. I'm not going to go yet. Let's see what he's got to say.
Dodged the weather tonight. We got down to almost T0, but we held at approximately T-2 seconds as we were getting ready to ignite the 9 Merlin 1D engines that would then take us to liftoff and out into space. We are in a safing process right now, fairly standard for the Falcon 9. We've run this on the vehicle many times, those who have maybe seen static fires with us before. The vehicle is safe. Team is working through to make sure that they get all the steps complete. We did hear from the launch director, just reiterating that because of the hold at T-2 seconds, we and the Space Force mission director have gone ahead and scrubbed the launch for the evening.
All right, folks. Sorry about that. I got all carried away. Thanks for telling me. Yeah. So I was saying that's it. It's aborted for the night. We've seen that. He's told us. Thanks. Appreciate it, guys. I got it. Okay. So thanks for that. Sometimes you get carried away. I'm busy watching 3 screens here. I got 2 windows here, and my apologies for that. But thank you for tuning in tonight. We did get to see at least the Antares launch, which is what the stream is all about. That was amazing to watch that launch, which was scrubbed last night. Successful tonight, watching it streak into space. A successful separation, a main separation, and the craft is well on its way to the International Space Station, where it will arrive Sunday night / Monday morning and dock with the International Space Station, bringing them a $23 million commode. That is a water closet that was made for a king. Folks, that's taking place. I'm going to take off here as well, folks. So thank you so much. Bosch Zephyr, thank you for the super stickers there. They were much appreciated on the stream. Really grateful for that support. It's awesome. And I'm going to drop off here in just a moment. And I want to thank you all. We'll catch you tomorrow on the channel. Don't have a guest booked for the moment, but we may be doing a call-in session. We'll see how it goes tomorrow. And then we have Renee Kruger coming up on Tuesday, the Boer Meisje. Be talking about Heritage Day and the trashing of Afrikaans and Boer culture in South Africa by political authorities and political figures. And then I have other guests coming up during the week. So, folks, thanks a lot. God bless. Have a good night. And don't you just love space? Isn't it wonderful? And that's it for this stream. I'm going to close out now and wish you all the very best. And thanks a lot for your patronage of the channel and for tuning in tonight. Have a good night.